Is there anything that could ever change how you feel about me?
No, never.
10 seconds later.
Follow me. I don't want to talk. I don't want to even see your face.
Stop.
Don't even touch me. Go touch your ex-boyfriend.
If I had to sum up the latest episode of Before the 90 Days, it would be captured in a phrase: congratulations, you played yourself. These people don't need love, they need help. Let's get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss Before the 90 Days. We have so much to cover. Honestly, I don't know where they found these people, so we're just going to jump straight into it. Before we do, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, quick jump scare while I'm editing to let you guys know that this blue light thing is getting on my nerves. And I didn't catch it while I was filming this, so I'm very sorry if it's bothering your eyes. Just look at my face. Just lock in. I will try to avoid this the next time. Thank you. Let's start with Veah and Sunny, shall we? We see them after their first night together. They didn't do anything intimate, but apparently it's not for a lack of trying on Sunny's part. He says that he wants to be her dream man, dream gentleman. She's never been out of the country, so he wants to make this visit special. So he leaves her alone real quick to get ready while he gets his plans ready. And of course, the first minute alone, she calls Rory, her true heart's desire. And from the minute she calls him, she's like, I don't have long, but I feel so guilty. Ma'am, you've orchestrated this and you're feeling guilty because you know you're doing something wrong. She's telling Rory, I feel guilty that I haven't told him, but things are going so well that I really don't want to tell him because he's going to be upset. And Rory is like, well, I understand it from his point of view. I too would be upset because you're hiding something. Veah is obviously problematic, but I'm also looking at Rory like, so you get it. So why are you doing this? Are you setting her up? Because if one of you has sense enough to see how this is wrong, why would you go along with this plan? It's obviously not a good look, so why wouldn't you talk her out of it? I feel like there's more to this story that they're both not telling each other. And also, I want to highlight that Veah keeps talking about Sunny's jealousy. And obviously, we know that there's a line where things can be grim, and I don't condone that. But she keeps talking about his jealousy in particular in reference to Rory, and she acts like it's without reason. And I just think that we skimmed past too quickly the fact that Rory antagonized Sunny. He was laughing about his pictures. He's obviously has this codependent relationship with Veah, clearly mainly led by Veah. Those things would make anyone jealous. Those things would make anyone think that there's something else going on. And so again, unless Sunny shows us his ugly, I have no reason to believe that he has an ugly side, especially when you're saying that he has this ugly side because he doesn't trust you when you're pulling moves like this. You have deemed yourself untrustworthy. And I feel bad, right? Because she's talking about him like he's some animal that can't control his emotions. Meanwhile, he's telling us how he's overthinking about wanting to make her comfortable, wanting this to be romantic, wanting this to be a memorable experience. And so he doesn't want to do too much because he doesn't want to cross the line. But he takes her out and he's like, yeah, we're going to do a gondola. I think that's how you say it. And I was cracking up when he was like the Titanic, except we're not dying. This ride is very romantic, and they're talking about the feelings that are coming up and the fact that there's a big difference between being online and being in person, the usual. And he's affirming her, he's showering her with love. He's like, oh my God, I'm so lucky. Her guilty ass is like, so you love me no matter what? There's nothing that would change that? And he's like, is there something that you want to tell me? And she's like, no. But she's looking guilty. She's shifting in her seat. Clearly, she's like, oh my God, this is the perfect moment and I'm going to ruin it. Why did I do this? And that's the end of the gondola scene because all of a sudden, there's a note that says 2 hours later. And Sunny's like, are you kidding me? Well, apparently, when they broke out for lunch, he saw the picture on her phone. And it's a picture of her and Rory at the airport. And he's like, you've never flown anywhere, so obviously you brought him here. She confirmed. And he's like, you know what? I don't need this, and starts walking off. He's freaking out because he's like, are you out of your mind? Like, why would you think it would be a good idea to bring him here? And she's yelling back at him like he's at fault for reacting in this way. She's like, see, but this is how you're acting. I knew you would be upset. Ma'am, he didn't start the day upset. He is upset because of your actions. Immediately, this victim complex is a no for me. And he's like, no, I don't need this. Go back to your man. And he's walking off. She's chasing after him. The camera crew's chasing after them. He's like, you know what? I'm not an a-hole like you, so I'm going to take you back to the hotel, but you need to go back home. And she's like, I came all this way for you. I'm not going home. They're in the car ride. He's like not making eye contact with her because he is disgusted by her actions. And the whole time, you guys, she's not apologizing. She keeps trying to rationalize and reason with him or like negotiate as to why what she did was a good idea. And she's like, I'm afraid of flying. That's why he came. I don't talk to him. Madam, be effing for real. And she just kept trying to grab him and he's like, don't touch me. Sunny is showing so much restraint in this moment that he's stuck in the car with her because when they were running, he was like, don't touch me, like go back home. I'm done with you. I don't need you. But we get a little more insight. So you guys know that in the gondola, as I said, she was looking guilty, okay? She was asking weird questions. He was trying to connect and she was just like a little, out of it because she's hiding the secret. And in their break, she was being real shady texting. And Veah doesn't look like she has a good poker face. So I think that Sunny, on top of already having these insecurities within the relationship, I think that his spidey senses were like going off and he snatched her phone. Don't be snatching people's belongings, Sunny, okay? But I also understand on a human level, when you have like an inkling and you're just like, I need to know, and she is incapable of telling me the truth, He pulled the phone, and I don't know if she saw that she was texting Rory. I don't know if she sent the picture to someone. I don't know how he found the photo, but he saw the photo of them just smiling at the airport. And he's like, do you think I'm dumb? Like, I obviously look dumb to you. And it's just so crazy because, again, she sounds like she wants sympathy because she needed a chaperone to fly all the way to see jealous Sunny. And Sunny's like, do you have no shame? Do you not have sympathy for me? How I've been wronged in this situation? Like, why are you talking about your needs in this moment? They get to the hotel and she keeps talking about how she has no feelings for Rory and he's tired of telling her. It's not about the feelings, it's the fact that you and I already have trust issues and you don't have the sense to know that continuing to hide things from me wouldn't be okay. It's not about the feelings. And if you want me to believe that there's no feelings, this isn't the way to go about it. Sunny has been prepping for this trip. He's wanted to go all out for her. So all of this is really like a huge smack in the face. And he's like, you know what? She's not even apologizing. She did me wrong and she's not apologizing. She's not understanding how what she did is a problem. I have no business being here. And he packs up his things. And did you guys catch that she went to the bathroom to change? And she was like, come here and close the door. I don't know what magic she thought she was going to put on him and make him forget about Rory. But he wasn't going. He's like, oh, now you want to be intimate? Now you want to be closed in a bathroom with me? No. He left her in the bathroom changing. He got his things together. And he bounced. And so she's stuck on the couch crying, texting him to come back home. He's packing up his car. The producer's like, so what's going on? You know what's going on. Sunny's like, there is nothing here for me, clearly. I'm leaving. And he looks heartbroken. There wasn't ever a scenario where this would have gone well. Ever. Congratulations, Veah. You played yourself. I mean, when you do clownery, this is what happens. We're going to move on to the next clown, Brian and Ingrid. So we see Ingrid the next morning after the whole hotel ordeal. She explains that he had no condom. He offered oral. She was like, no, thank you. And he had a fit when she said no to that. And he walked out of the hotel room. So like, she's like, oh my God, like he was acting like a rabid animal. Like he was just so eager. It was a side of him that I had never seen and it made me uncomfortable.
Com tanta sede ao pote. Parecendo que tá morrendo. Para não, que é isso?
And she expands a little bit that she thinks that oral is like the most intimate kind of intimacy that you can have. So she just felt like this feels wrong. I don't feel comfortable with this. And it made her just think to herself like, you are showing me a side of Brian that I didn't see before, and I don't want to be here anymore. So she went back home. And when we see Brian, he's at a barbershop, I'm guessing getting trim and proper for like his new conquest. But he says that he feels like one, rejected, which I understand that part, but he's like, oh yeah, there's gotta be something wrong with Ingrid. She just must not want to have, intimacy with a guy with disabilities. And I just feel like that's not it. I don't think she would have entertained past the second date if it had to do with your disability. I think it's your stank attitude and the fact that you kind of bulldoze through boundaries. It has nothing to do with your wheelchair. This man is just missing the point completely. This woman was laying next to you in lingerie. She was letting you put oils on her. And I just can't help but think about the fact that this man was wise enough to bring blue pills but forgot condoms. Yeah, that sounds to me like it was intentional. That sounds to me like this is something he's used to doing. That sounds to me like he thought that, he would have just another Brazilian conquest and she would just go with the flow with him because he's American and she would feel bad for him because of his chair. And Ingrid is a grown woman. Like, she's not here for your games. And I think that he's pissed that he just wasn't able to like smooth talk his way, But we see him call his sister. And his sister is hearing him out. And then he gets to the part where he walks out of the room and his sister's like, are you a caveman? Like, you're told no and you walk off? Like, what is that about? And just the way that he talks about like how Ingrid should feel grateful that he like wanted to please her. It's like, who do you think you are? And I love that his sister explains it to him like, that is really intimate. That's the closest that you can ever be with someone. And sure, that's her baby brother. She's always going to do some explaining, some parenting. But this is a 50-something-year-old man. Like, if I have to explain that to you at this age, yeah, we have bigger problems. He also tells his sister that the reason he walked out is because when he was rejected, he felt like Ingrid was sending him mixed signals. My mans, if anyone is sending mixed signals, it's you. You started this relationship omitting a huge part of your character arc. So if anyone is getting mixed signals thrown at them, is Ingrid. And like, his BS aside, no one wants to be rejected. Everyone wants to be affirmed. I know that he's in a very sensitive like spot, but just because you need affirmation doesn't mean that someone still owes you their body. Like, there's other ways to connect. And I feel like Ingrid has allowed you into her space in many ways that she wasn't even ready for, but you pushed through that. Her permitting that should be enough for you. But I feel like Brian has a one-track mind. He came into this trip wanting intimacy in a particular way, and he's not going to stop until he gets it, whether it's from Ingrid or someone else. I think that it's more of an ego thing. So like 2 days later, we do see him meet up with Ingrid, and he does apologize, sorta. He like tells her, I'm so sorry. I know that was wrong, but I'm just confused because, I thought I was giving you a gift. Ingrid is like, no, that's not a gift. Like, the gift would have been to ask me if I wanted that. But instead, you were like, here, have it. And I didn't feel comfortable. And she tells him, she's like, if you're confused, it's because you're creating this confusion. Because all I was asking was to feel comfortable. And like, you pushing that, it wasn't the gift that you think it is. So when she tells him that, it was a lot, you could see that he feels embarrassed, and you could see that it registers to him like, oh, she's not going to let me just like, smooth talk my way through this. And so, of course, Brian pulls out the oldest trick in his book. tears, waterworks, just like wiping his face constantly. And I'm like, sir, and you could see that this time his tears didn't melt Ingrid. She just went, she's like, okay, like, it's okay. We can move forward. Like, it's, it's fine, but I'm seeing things about you that I don't know. And he's like, well, yeah, it's been a roller coaster, right? Do you want to go away with me? This man is really trying to pull all the stops. He's trying to like romance her in like all these different places in Brazil to try to get to like that kind of intimacy. And I just feel like it just doesn't seem genuine. It's obviously very forced. Ingrid, of course, is like, sure, free trip. I'm going to do it. But everything about it just seems like they're like chugging along to do it. I just don't feel like they were a good fit at all. But I think Ingrid wants to see this through because this was a guy that she talked to for 2 years. But yeah, she wasn't talking to this version. Brian is a bit of a con man in my eyes. Let's move on to the next con man, Loren, and we're going to discuss Loren&Faith. So it's time for them to go to Faith's hometown to see her family. And as you guys remember, after the whole cheating and STD situation, she's like, I'm going to introduce you as my friend because while you would be like, I need to friend zone you real quick. But she's embarrassed that she told her family that she's taking her boyfriend. If she doesn't want them to have questions, if she doesn't want them to know what went down, she should probably not change his title last minute because then they're going to be like, wait, what happened? I thought he was your boyfriend. I don't think she thought that through, but anyway. See them start their travel day and you could see that like Faith wants to keep a bit of physical distance. And it doesn't help that Loren talks about his leakage proudly. This man has no like social awareness. Like, that's just so tacky to talk about in public like that and just so like candidly. I don't know. He just makes me feel so uncomfortable. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near him. And Faith is just like, honestly, at every moment, this man is insufferable. So they have to fly over to this town. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to meet my best friend's parents. Like, just like milking the fact that this is where they are and he wants to be more. And Faith is like, yeah, She doesn't find any of this funny or amusing. She's not trying to make a light of it like he is. You guys, I also want to highlight the fact that this man keeps talking in like this fake accent. He's trying to sound like he's a local, I think, and it's a bit offensive. Another moment that happened when they were on their way to the hotel in the car, I think Faith was like throwing jabs at him like, oh yeah, like you're done sleeping with other people. You're going to have to talk to your little friend and be like, it's just us. And he's like, oh, well, I actually don't use my friend when I'm being intimate. I'm a bottom. This is news to Faith. Faith is like, wait, you don't use it at all? I'm a bottom. Like, how is this going to work? Are we just going to... Faith is like, listen, I want to feel like the woman that I am, and like, I'm not using mine. Like, so I don't know how this is going to work. And they expand a little bit on this conversation when they're in the ride over. I think she says that like, she reminds us that she's not on hormones. And he reminds us again that that's what he prefers. Faith, is like, I can't afford this. And he's like, oh, I wish that I could afford it for her. It's very icky because he wants to help her for his gain, not for her gender euphoria, you know what I mean? So he's gross. But they go to a hotel. Initially, they only had one room booked because Faith was like, she's like, yeah, I thought that by this point in the trip, since we were together, we would be more comfortable, we would be intimate. So I had this one room for us. But clearly things have changed. And she made him get another room, which he was very pissed about. But I'm like, sir, you were just proudly talking about your leakage. I think it's best that you isolate. The next day they go, but also they're in this ride over she's talking about her town. She's saying that like while there's hotels here, she has more stability in working in Manila and she's able to send money back to her family to support them. But she wishes that she could be here because she misses them. She misses having access to them. This man, who is a dream seller, looks at Faith and is like, oh, he's like, how much does the house cost here? And she starts guessing and he throws out numbers. He's like, because I've done research. She's like, why are you doing research about houses here? He's like, oh, I'm thinking about us, our future, and how would you feel if I bought you a house and for your family? And she looks at him like, he's selling her a dream. He's full of garbage. And I just think it's so interesting that he's like, well, by American standards, I'm broke. No, sir. Not only by American standards, universally, you are broke. The next day, they explore some private island, and this is where, in the boat ride, it's romantic, it's beautiful, and he's trying to ask her if he can kiss her neck and just be lovey-dovey, and she's like, behave. No. And I love that no matter what, Faith doesn't let herself get too wrapped up into the fantasy of it all, because with this kind of scenic view, I understand why you would be like Titanic, I would love to just, be happy with you. But the fact that he talks so proudly about this STD is a reminder that this man was cheating on her. And she says it in this moment. She's like, Loren is really good at charming me. He's always says the right things, and I just don't know if he is just lying. And I think that she has every right to believe that he's lying. This man says he's sleeping over friends' houses. Turns out he's homeless. This man says he works many jobs. Comes to the Philippines with $46. This man says that he loves you. You find out he's cheating on you every week and caught an STD. So clearly, every story that he has given her has become fraudulent in her eyes. So the love goggles are clearing up and she's seeing him for what he is. And I think that if she hadn't promised her family that they would come over, they wouldn't be on this trip. So she's really in her head, and he's not necessarily respecting the fact that she set that boundary, because he's like, well, how are we going to grow closer if she's driving more distance? It's probably for the best because you are destructive. So that's enough of them. Let's move on to Vanja and Bozo. Vanja is running across the airports. I think she missed her connecting flight. It's a mess. He also still hasn't texted her back. She is stressing. We go to Croatia and we finally meet Bozo, and he is miniature. I say miniature in terms of basketball. I think he's an average guy size in my opinion, but in comparison to basketball players, I didn't foresee that. He says that he's known for being funny, for being romantic. We get to know a little bit of his dating backstory. He says that he was really in love with someone. They were together for 6 years, but she broke his heart. She left him because he prioritized basketball over love. He never took her on trips. He didn't do anything special. So he was deeply heartbroken when they broke up. He says that 8 months ago, he started talking to Vanja and it was beautiful. And he refers to their breakup as a freeze. And the producer's like, what do you mean a freeze? Well, the freeze was that he decided that he wanted to try things again with the ex-girlfriend, the ex-girlfriend that broke his heart. And so that's why he was like, oh, Vanja, I can't because I'm trying this. Here's the thing. When he talks about this ex-girlfriend, he talks about it like she's the one that got away. He talks about it like he has a lot of regret, like there's unfinished business. And that's not good for Vanja. Vanja, he left her for her once. If that woman calls again, he's going to leave you again. That lady has been living in his brain rent-free till this day. And, he had been talking to Vanja for some time and didn't tell her that they couldn't see each other until the day before she was supposed to see him in Croatia. This is obviously someone that has been in your mind and heart for longer. He wasn't honest in the level that he needed to be with Vanja. So Vanja is wasting her time. At this point, she's going to Croatia for the vibes because this guy, I think he's spoken for. But that aside, we see, that he lives with his mom and his aunt. They're super religious. They dote on this man. There was a point that they were like folding his underwear. I was like, he is 38. He is not defenseless. Why are you folding his underwear? But here they were. They pray a lot. They pray everywhere. Apparently, they pray a lot for him to find a wife and kids. I get the energy that these ladies like to gossip and pray, and I love that for them, So they make it clear that they'd be open for him to find love. They're ready to, see him start a family. So it was confusing to hear that he hasn't told them about Vanja. And I'm like, why are you hiding? Like, do you think that they're not going to like her jobs? Like, what is it, And I could see how he'd be like, oh, well, they're a little too involved in my life. Like, I'm scared that they would rush us into marriage. I was thinking about all the many reasons, right? We see a moment with him and his mom at the market, and he's like, oh, Mom, I have something to tell you. I met a girl. His mother starts getting emotional. She's like, I prayed for this. I begged for this. Finally, he met a girl. I hope it works out. The only reason he told his mom is because Vanja is merely hours away from landing there. The mom is like, oh, I know that he would be a great husband and Vanja can train him to be the right man. He's 38. It should not be Vanya's job to train him. I feel like that should have been your job while he was living under your roof and you were babying him. That's just me. But we find out in this conversation that he has kept a major secret from Vanja. This man is unemployed. He's been telling Vanja that he's a professional basketball player. And I was wondering, I'm like, why was he living with his mom and aunt? Maybe it's a cultural thing, but it's a bit odd. Usually guys that do that sport like to be like bachelors, have their own space. Yeah, I don't think he even played professionally for very long, but he says that he got replaced by a taller dude. He's been unemployed ever since, and he feels away because, as we know, Vanja has 5 jobs, and he's like, she's independent, she does well for herself. I don't think that I'm gonna be good enough for her. So it's gonna be wild. I don't think that Vanja would resent him for being unemployed. Like, everyone falls into hard times. It's the lying of it. And it sounds like he's been lying about it for a hot minute. And also, I would look at you like, where's your initiative to find any kind of job? Like, anything to bring money into your household. And it just doesn't seem like he has urgency. But then again, this is the first episode that we've seen him, so I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, that's what he's hiding. His family seems very supportive. He thinks that they would like her as well. I think that he's getting in his way, and I think that's on purpose because I do think he's in love with his ex. That's just me. Let's move on to the next couple. Really quickly is Tigerlily and Adnan. It's the day that she has to go back to America. They're still sobbing. I will say this is probably the realest version of Tigerlily that I think we'll ever see. I think that she's very performative, and I think that she likes to come off as a Kardashian. But this is the first time and probably only time that we'll see raw emotion from her. And it's funny because for a moment I was like, oh, well, she's the most considerate parent that we've seen on this show, She only came to Jordan for a week. She got what she needed to do and left because, she has to go back to her kids. So I think a week, doable. But then I'm like, wait a minute. She got married to a man that she's only known a total of 4 months. She's now going to apply for the visa to get him to live with them. Do these kids even know Adnan? So how good of a parent is she to just bring a random ass stranger into their home, you know? I will always feel bad for long distance relationships. I've been in one before, and that airport drop off is probably one of the worst to ever exist. So I feel for them. But that's it for them this episode. We're going to move on to the next couple. I think it's the final one, Niles&Matilda. So this is their last day in Accra before they go back to her hometown. So he's taking her to this like memorial site for the first president of Ghana. And they get there and it's beautiful and they're kissing up and they're holding hands. Super cute. But this is where he wants to propose. He got the ring. He's ready. He's talking about sending her maxims or like his sort of like manifesto. He sent her this list of things that he lives by. And he's like, did you read it? And she's like, no. And he's like, pull it out, read it. And she's like, right now? Yeah. So she kind of starts reading it and then she trails off and he finishes reading the list. And immediately I was like, sir, making her read your personal constitution is not romantic. I don't know where you think this proposal is going. What he gets at in his confessional is that he wants her to read it because this is how he deals with conflict and he's going to give her heavy news and he wants her to be equipped with tools to navigate it. And I was like, Niles, that's a little manipulative of you because you don't get to decide how someone reacts. And totally, you could develop your own conflict resolution language in your union, but you do that when you're having a good day. You don't drop a rule book right before you give her bad news. I don't think that that's the way to do it. So he's reading these maxims, I think that's what he called it. And Matilda is dozing off. She is so bored. I don't think she understands half of it. She's like, what are we doing? Ultimately, he's like, I love you. And he gets on his knees and she is stunned. She can't believe that this is what that was leading to because she didn't see it coming. She thought that it was so romantic ultimately, and they just start making out and they're getting so caught up in the moment and they walk off and he's like, oh crap, I didn't tell her the terms and stipulations, the terms and conditions of this ring. She's gonna kill me, but whatever, I have to tell her tonight. Here's the thing, you guys, an official proposal was important. Matilda deserved to have that moment. But I think that it is cruel to be like, here's this ring. It confirms that we're getting married in 2 weeks, like you've been saying, only to then later be like, psych. It's a bit cruel. I feel like he should have been forthcoming about all of this long ago. I honestly would have led with having a big conversation about him not wanting the wedding in this trip. And then later, like after she has a few days to cool, having a separate experience where it's like, babe, this is my promise to you, because I feel like this day will now forever be tainted. Okay. So this like outside restaurant, club, lounge situation in Ghana, and he's overstimulated a bit, so he puts on his earbuds and he's like trying to lock in because he has this news to tell her. He has to tell her tonight. And Matilda's just like, I can't wait to marry you. Like, she's like, this just makes it that much more official. And he's like, yeah, but I do want to tell you something. I don't think that we'll be able to get married in this trip. And I wish that he didn't say it like that. I think that he said it that way because he's scared of her. But I also feel like if you're going to deliver bad news, deliver all of it. Don't breadcrumb it. Don't give her false hope like you've already been doing. Just say it. What he says is, I want to be able to give you your dream wedding, and I can't right now. Also, I want us to get to know each other more. Yes, I think it's a combination of both, but I think at the root of it is that he doesn't feel comfortable yet in rushing into it because his family is not on board. And if this is going to be his future wife, she should know. She should know the full scope of it because maybe she can like have conversations with your family and make them feel comfortable. But he's not treating her like a teammate in this moment. He's making this decision. And one can argue that she wasn't being a teammate either because she, bulldozed those conversations and like continued planning on because he shouldn't disappoint her. I can see both sides. But in this moment, I felt terrible for Matilda. Got proposed to, she has this pretty ring, she has this memorable story, and then her fiance with his earbuds is looking at you and saying, actually, we're not gonna get married. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, you can't do this to me. What am I gonna tell my family? What am I gonna tell the guests? Also, they've put so much money into making sure that this event happens in 2 weeks. And so he says, well, a wedding is going to happen just, further out, but not too far. And you can show them the ring, that it's my promise. And she's like, there's no way you're doing this to me. Like, yes, she was being pushy about the wedding plans, but he never stopped her. He never gave her a full, it's not happening, stop it. That never happened. So I completely understand why she's upset. She's really hurt. And she's like, you are disgracing me. And she just walks off crying. Next week, you guys, looks crazy because Matilda is on Niles' neck. She's not letting him get around this passively. She's like, no, I told you these plans. You never said it wasn't happening. She's on him. We also see that Tigerlily says that her and Adnan got into a fight and she stopped answering her phone and it sent him to the hospital. Apparently he's been super possessive, changing up the rules, surprise, surprise, and he got himself to the hospital because he just couldn't have control of her all the way from Jordan. We see that Brian meets Ingrid's mom, and she makes it no secret that she does not like him, and I think it has nothing to do with the wheels. I think it has everything to do with his, braggadocio, attitude. And also, Chicken Lady and Chidi are back. I thought we had seen the last of them. There is, per usual, so much happening. Please let me know your thoughts about this episode. I can't wait to read them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.